Well, good evening, everyone. Well done, Jazz Band. Our national finalists at the end of last term, so we're very proud of them. There are a couple of pieces that they've played in the last two events have been their own. So they've done some really impressive things. So it's really good to have them here, and thank you to everybody that made that happen. Well, welcome. It's good to see you all. It wasn't that long ago that I sort of stood in your shoes, considering whether Hitchin Boys was for me. It was actually less than 2 years ago. And so I did what you've probably just done. I came and I saw the school, I walked round, I asked boys, I hope you asked some really difficult questions. I want to know that you really challenged them out there. And I asked lots of questions and talked to as many people as I could. And I think it's really important when you're looking at schools and looking around to find out the truth and what you think. And so for me, what did I think? Well, I think the only answer I can give you is that I'm still here. So all was pretty good. I started my career sort of in sport. I played a bit of rugby. I worked as a sports centre assistant manager, but it became very clear that education was at the heart of everything I wanted to do. I led pastoral care for some time in a boys' school in Barnet, Queen Elizabeth's, that some of you will know. I have more recently spent 7 years in a school in Dorset, Sherborne School. The key to these schools is that for 31st year in education, I know. 31st year in education, they're all boys. So my line to you would be this: I know boys. If my son is anything to go by, it's a very simple equation. You feed them, you run them, you feed them, you run them, you feed them again, and then, more importantly, you hide their mobile phones. And you'll be pleased to know, if you don't know already, that's something we've adopted and have had here now for most of the time that I've been here. 30 years of teaching has taught me many things, and I believe that I know a lot more about boys and their behaviours. And I know the need for clarity. I know the need for boundaries. But I also know they need to feel safe, and that is hugely important. Safety allows them to flourish and grow. It's the foundations for them to explore everything, to explore the world. It gives them that room to be creative, to be curious, to learn from mistakes, to build relationships. And it's for this reason and many others, and I don't apologise for repeating it pretty much in every talk I give, I entirely reject the phrase, "the boys will be boys." Not just because it excuses behaviours that undermine our values, but because it creates an opportunity to lower expectation. And then for them not to fulfil their true potential in whatever area they wish to explore and excel. We all need to understand that they're going to push boundaries, but it's through having clarity and clear boundaries that we can educate and ensure they're fully equipped for those skills for life. As a parent, I've had that call. I have 3 children. I've had that call more than once. But the relationship that you build between home and school is paramount. And it must be built on trust. And so I guess I recognise that we might not always agree, but I do know we all have one ambition, and that is the growth and the future of your sons. I strongly believe, therefore, that when school and home are aligned, nothing is insurmountable. After 2 years at Hitchin Boys School, I know that this is a thriving community, one of care and support and genuine kindness. It's through a community that's underpinned with that sort of enthusiasm, positivity, the strength and personal relationships that children need to thrive, that community founded on kindness, on good human values. I make no apologies for thinking, and I'm sure you are the same, that being a thoroughly decent human being is the most important criteria in raising my own children and in the children I teach. In a world where we need positive role models, we hold honesty, integrity, decency as those prerequisites of life. Boys, I know it's not easy being young. Actually, just to let you all know, boys, it's not easy being old either. But I do think, genuinely, life has thrown really difficult times. Social media, #MeToo, COVID, cost of living, exam expectation, mental health concerns, anxiety, AI, I go on, the future of the planet, we can go on. I've been around long enough to know that schools must constantly evolve. And whilst the tenets of education have not changed, the challenges and, of course, the opportunities have. And we need to move and change with them. Schools are often at the forefront of managing those changes. But it takes the whole community, the parents, the carers, the staff, the trustees, the alumni, the local and national voices, everybody to come together. Because, as I've said, we all want them to be the very best that they can be, academically, through the outstanding co-curricular opportunities, socially, and importantly, emotionally. But we must also understand that they have numerous paths that they can move down to get them there. There is no one size fits all. You boys are unique. So I'm going to talk to you just for a moment, and then parents can listen, obviously, but also read as they go. Boys, you're individuals. You and your ultimate success will look different depending on who you are. We will celebrate your personal achievements by supporting your talents, your needs, and your aspirations. We will continually improve your experiences by creating a culture where it's not only okay to get it wrong or to fail, but one where we see it as a way for you to continue to learn and get better. So you should always leave anything you're doing with this in mind. Don't say you can't do something. If you're at school and you're challenging yourself, make sure you add the word yet to those things as you go forward, because in that you then become resilient. We want your experience to feel and know that it is truly great to be a Hitchin boy. Leaving Hitchin Boys School, having immersed yourself in everything the school has to offer, and you would have seen quite a lot of it here, and I will leave it to the gentleman on my right to give you more detail about that as we go forward. We want you to leave as leaders, as ambassadors for the future, with every opportunity to flourish and make a positive difference. In leading and therefore owning something, you truly invest and grow in it. We want you to be strong and true. Now, not strong in the arm, because we want them to have a strength of character underpinned by that compassion and kindness, a strength of purpose that allows them to stand up for what they believe and feel able to challenge. We want them to be true because they will be true to themselves and to others, building lives of purpose, impact, and service. In order to make this a reality, the school will constantly strive for excellence, to ensure that everybody matters, where we set the very highest of expectations and challenge them to achieve those massively adventurous, aspirational outcomes. We will do this all by ensuring that they have access to the very best opportunities. The best opportunities, and I will quote the Good Schools Guide as I say this, but the best opportunities, because it is rare and possibly even non-existent, is the hitching boy that doesn't belong to one club or another. It's very much co-curricular, not extracurricular here. Because I think we see this at a time where opportunity is a diminishing commodity with schools, being seen as a place for exams. We hold teaching and learning and academic outcomes hugely highly, but it is not our raison d'etre. There was a letter not that long ago written by Sir Anthony Seldon, the ex-head of Epsom and Wellington and Brighton, and many of you will know him because of his political and historical writings, including books about Blair and Brown and Cameron. I'd like to read just a little piece from it. What is lacking from our school system is any philosophy of the purpose of schools beyond the maximisation of exam results that test a narrow range of human capabilities. Schools are less robust at finding out what all young people can do, at imparting mental resilience and a sense of duty and responsibility, and at encouraging entrepreneurialism and preparing the young for the AI world of the mid-21st century. Here, we will equip boys with the skills for life, will enhance their passions, and ensure there is something for everybody to get involved in. We will support our community going forward, ensuring we build strong networks of support in local and wider community. Boys, we will be good neighbours. I will, as I say, leave the details of these opportunities to the young men by my side, but we need schools that give every young person a sense of success and a sense of belonging, and optimise their chances of becoming positive and fulfilled members of society and the wider community. I will return very briefly, I promise, at the end, just to sign off, but for now, I would like to spend 5 minutes with Mr. Monks telling us more about the academic side of the school, our Deputy Head, Curriculum and Outcomes.
As a school, teaching and learning does remain at the heart of everything we do. So let me run through some of the features which make this school both distinctive and successful. Our curriculum is unapologetically academic. If you choose to send your son here, he will study a broad and balanced curriculum up to the end of Year 11, when he can then start to specialise in the sixth form. This will enable him to explore the best that has been thought and done in a wide variety of specialisms, including arts, sciences and humanities. This would draw both on the typical interests of boys and then challenge them with the ideas outside of their normal experiences. He will be exposed to several modern foreign languages, including opportunities to study Latin. The expectation is that he will study at least one language to GCSE. In science lessons, he will follow a curriculum that has a heavy slant on practicals, with pupils from Year 7 upwards using specialist equipment like Bunsen burners and electronic circuits. In my discussions with Year 7s, this is often in marked contrast to the equipment and direction in their primary schools. We have a full complement of specialist teaching staff to confidently deliver our challenging curriculum, including native French and Spanish speakers working in our MFL department, doctors and scientists in the science department, opera singers, professional musicians, actors and artists in the creative arts department, and the odd old professional sportsman in our PE department. Thanks, Tim. We are also a local hub for teacher training, using our specialist knowledge to train and support the next generation of teachers, drawing on academic research to enhance effective teaching. We are a Google school. All of our pupils will have an individual touchscreen Chromebook which they will take to lessons, and resources and homework are recorded on their Google Classrooms which you will be able to see as their parents. In class, pupils are provided with a blended learning experience, using traditional techniques such as pen and paper where appropriate, along with their Chromebooks when it will enhance their learning. Not only will this improve outcomes for the boys, but should set them up well for the real world of working. Although we plan to challenge and stretch your son, we will also ensure that we personalise the teaching to support him. Firstly, this is done in class by their specialist teacher, who will model, scaffold and rehearse work in class, setting targets and next steps regardless of his starting points. As he progresses through the school, in some subjects like maths and science, they'll be put into appropriate sets. For those with additional needs, our expert SEND department work tirelessly to support and adapt based on individual need. If you have any concerns in this area, please do speak to our SEND department, who are here tonight, and they're based in J1. Next, I wanted to touch on the outcomes of this excellent teaching and learning. Behind me at the back, you can see our Year 13 destinations board, which showed where our previous cohorts have headed off. Some have headed to Oxford, some have headed to apprenticeships, and some to Russell Group universities. On results day this summer, there was much to celebrate, such as the 6 pupils getting straight A stars in all their A-levels, or that a third of all the A-level entries resulted in an A or A-star grade. A week later, academic success for the GCSE students then followed. A third of all the GCSE exams that we sat resulted in a grade 7 or above, which is equivalent to an A. We continue to be significantly above national and Hertfordshire averages for all the DFE approved attainment measures. Information about this can be found on a DFE website, which is set up specifically for parents, the DFE's Compare Schools portal. We're particularly proud this year that we've been recognised in a recently published performance tables that's been produced by the Daily Telegraph. They rank us 95th out of about 3,500 schools in England. We are the only school in North Hertfordshire to make this top 100. I will now pass you on to our Senior Deputy, Mr. Ajibol.
Thank you, Mr. Monks, and a further thank you to all of you for coming. It matters that you are here. It is, as Mr. Monks has said, my great joy and honour to be the Senior Deputy Head here. I promise I will not speak for long. It is hot, and I'm acutely aware that I'm just the warm-up act, actually, for the main event, which is our 2 Hitchin boys there, Josh and Freddie in Year 7, and our Hitchin man, the finished product, Ollie Kersley-Allison, who is our head boy. They will, I hope, provide even more compelling proof of what we turn out at this school. The first thing I'll say is that this is an uncommon school. I know that most of you will have already done your due diligence, and you will know that this is not just another Hertfordshire school. Some of you may be considering it because you're old boys, you went here, or you have family links with this school, but you must have had some sense that this is a school worth visiting, and that's why I started by saying thank you for being here. So right now you are weighing up and considering that big question, asking your son, do you want to be a Hitchin boy? The answer, I hope by now, having had the tour and had the main events go before me, will be a resounding yes. But some of the more skeptical amongst you, I can see your faces, will be thinking, what does that even mean? What does it mean to be a Hitchin boy? Do I really want my son to go to an all-boys school? Aren't they a bit, odd? You are rightly asking those big questions, and there is space for healthy skepticism. Well, the first thing I'll say on that is that this is not one of those edgy boys' schools. You know, the ones where the testosterone is always about to boil over, and there's that uncomfortable sense that it's always about to break out into a riot. That's not who we are. Nor are we one of those places where the older boys are unkind and they menace the junior boys because it helps them man up, and the staff sort of turn a blind eye to it because, they too will get their turn when they're older. It's the natural order of things. This is not one of those boys' schools. And if you don't believe me, I hope you've had a chance to ask your tour guides. And if you haven't had that chance, then I want you to ask the many teachers whose sons attend this school. Mrs. Banson, her son attends this school. Mr. Rayner, Mrs. Stanton, our permanent head of Year 7. And indeed, Miss Christou, our head of Sixth Form, is somewhere here with her son looking around tonight. I hope they provide you with compelling proof of the fact that this is a special school. This is my second posting as a deputy head. I did 11 years in London, and this is the first school that I've worked in where I feel very confident sending my son Isidore to. It's a truly unique and special place because we have all the boys. We have the boys who raise their hands, ask and answer the questions, balance the equations, shuffle their feet and have to be told to tuck your shirt in, punctuate the sentences, write the computer code, need to be held mentally and with compassion as they work through the difficulties of puberty, paint the oils, score the tries and the goals, act out the great plays and the musicals, and bring the audience to its feet. But most importantly, they serve one another and uphold the values of a place that they love and will always love, their school. Ollie will speak to you about those intangible, almost but palpable sense of belonging that a single-sex environment engenders, a place where they can be kids for a bit longer and they can find the full range of their humanity and emotions without the pressure to adultify themselves and conform too quickly to societal norms. It's a place where they can find their way. They can track their ambitions. Ollie wanted to be a head boy from year 7. There is more on that, I kid you not. But really, a school like this is about those words that are just going to come up behind me. They are the 3 C's: courage, compassion, community. So in a world where cynicism and being skeptical and being a bit sort of objective and stepping back is too often prized, and enthusiasm is derided as being a bit too much, we choose to value the best in humanity. We strive for high ideals, and I hope the energy you're getting from me here is that this is a school where we do passion. This is a school where the default setting for every boy is passionate, whether that's Dungeons and Dragons, heraldry, dodgeball, finger skateboarding, or even pike fishing. The list goes on. We deliberately place a premium on that zeal, and the pastoral department are seekers of that passion. Here we understand that there are infinite ways to be a man. There is no single story of masculinity, and every single story is worthy of celebration, protection, and nurture. So we talk to them about that courage that is required to confront difficult questions, to risk making mistakes, as Mr. Bennett has said, to take responsibility for your actions and hold yourself accountable, to stand up for what is right and good because it is right and good, and being comfortable with who you are, and knowing how to win and lose and handle both results either way. Our behavior policy is written with that in mind. We focus not on what happens after the fact, but on prompting and encouraging boys to recognize the best within themselves and others. We see them for who they are today, but most importantly, who they will be tomorrow. So we see them as a whole, not as a label or a set of behaviors on a conduct log, but as humans worthy of recognition. And that's how we create this strong school identity. And that's why there's so much talk of being a Hitchin boy. We teach each boy about compassion, which goes far beyond simply just showing concern for others. It's about feeling deeply for the other person. That means that this is a telling school, boys. We do not accept at all the notion of snitches. We tell them that you must do what's right, and that means telling an adult and standing with your friends. Do not believe your sons when they tell you, I don't want you to get Joe in trouble. Don't tell the school. Children thrive when all the adults are speaking. That is a truth as ancient as the rocks. This, from the staff point of view, is not a shouting school. I say that at the start of every term. We don't shout or hector the boys in a spirit of hypermasculinity. We treat them with gentleness and wisdom. We model what we want them to go out and do because we know that fear is a bad teacher. The lessons of fear are quickly forgotten. So we instead correct using compassion and dialogue. There's a lot of talk in this school. Here, community matters. It means something to wear the navy blue and gold, the colours of this school with pride, and act accordingly when they are on their way to and from school. We teach them duty. That is a word that is too often lacking from modern discourse. In an increasingly complex world where we seem to be reifying the individual at the cost of the whole, we are different in that we challenge them to remember the first duty to yourself is to consider your duty to others. You matter in relation to others. I will leave my boldest claim that this is an uncommon school to be answered by Josh, Freddie, and Ollie. After 1 week, Freddie over there wrote an email to Mr. Bennett and asked to speak at this evening. I promise you, apropos of nothing. Joshua over there walked up to Mr. Bennett and I at lunchtime on the first day here, introduced himself, told us who we were, and made clear that he was a boy with serious ambitions. This is such a place where every child from the moment they begin feels as though they have a space laid at this great table for them. So in sum, when you come to answer that question, do you want to be a Hitchin boy? The better question is actually, do you want to be a Hitchin man? Because for us, this is a 7-year journey. So that when they leave us as a Hitchin man, it can be confidently said, without conceit or artifice, that you know a Hitchin man when you've met a Hitchin man. Because he is a man of purpose, compassion, resilience, wisdom, and strength. And it is now my great privilege to introduce you to such a man. Ollie, no pressure.
Thank you, Mr. Ajabona, for that kind introduction. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all parents and Year 6 pupils here today. My name is Oliver, and I'm incredibly honoured and proud to stand before you as the head boy of Hitchin Boys School. Now, Mr. Ajabona wasn't actually joking earlier. I really did want to be head boy from the very moment I joined this school. I still can't say why, but this place is more than just a school to me, and I love having the opportunity to give back to the school that's provided so much support to me. But today is not about me, it is about all you boys. Today marks the start of a really exciting chapter for you all as you begin to consider your senior school journey. Although it might feel a little overwhelming right now, especially with new uniform, new subjects, and new faces, I want to reassure you that it is completely normal to feel a little nervous. I still remember my first day at Hitchin Boys. I was nervous too, but underneath that, I felt incredibly excited to be stepping into a new school and proud to be wearing the Hitchin Boys blazer and tie. What helped me settle in so quickly was the amazing support from the staff and, just as importantly, the kindness of the older students who went out of their way to help. Very quickly, I began forming new friendships, both in my form and beyond, often through the school's incredible range of clubs and sports, of which there are so many here. And that's where I made most of my friends. I never really thought of myself as much of a sportsman back in primary school, but seeing other pupils kitted out and getting involved encouraged me to give it a go. Before I knew it, I found myself going to a club every single day. Yes, I really do love this school that much. Through these clubs, I not only developed a strong sense of teamwork, but also created long-lasting memories that have helped shape my school journey. Since then, I have had the chance to join some unforgettable school trips to Iceland, Canada, Singapore and Malaysia, and not least, Norfolk. Each of those trips taught me something new and was a reminder of how much this school offers beyond the classroom. Selecting Hitchin Boys is a fantastic choice. This is a school that celebrates our successes, supports our ambitions, and pushes every one of us to be the very best versions of ourselves. This school has so much to offer, and the more you put in, the more you'll get out of it. The encouragement I've received from my teachers and the senior leadership team has helped me achieve more than I ever expected in my studies, and I know I'm not alone in that. Now, as I head towards the end of my education here, I reflect across my peer group and see how we've each grown stronger, more resilient, and more confident. Strong and true. And parents, I know it will do the same for your sons too. Our school motto, Per Ardua Adulta, is not just something etched into the stained glass window from nearly 400 years ago. It is reflected in the traditions of our school, in the leadership of our teachers who continually encourage us to overcome challenges and achieve great things. But most of all, we reach the heights through the everyday determination of all 1,350 boys. Per Ardua Adulta. As I close my speech this evening, I want to take a moment to look forward. One of the things that makes our school so special is the way it inspires students from the very start of their journey here. In fact, after I was asked to speak today, 2 of our new Year 7s asked if they could share a few words too. I think that says everything about the spirit of this place. So it's now my pleasure to hand over to Joshua and Freddie. Thank you all for listening, and I look forward to seeing you all around the school this evening.
My name is Joshua, and I am a Year 7 here at Hitchin Boys School. Last year, I was in your school, a Year 6 about to step up to secondary school, with more classes, responsibilities, and of course, homework. I know that starting secondary school can feel a bit scary, especially if you're worried about making new friends. But I can tell you that making new friends is easy. With the diversity of people's personalities here at Hitchin Boys, there has to be at least one person that you click with. Only 4 people from my primary school came to Hitchin Boys, and none of us were even in the same tutor group. From the beginning, it was easy to make friends, because everyone was in the same position. So I became good friends with the people in my form group, including Freddie, with whom I'm here today. As a result, I became the class council for 7SK. Now to talk about the teachers. All around, the teachers are extremely supportive and caring. They are so supportive that on my first day, I felt confident enough to go up to Mr. Rajadwana and Mr. Bennett and introduce myself. This was at lunchtime, where the food here is amazing, and there were always chicken burgers available. I leave you here today with a message. Believe in yourself, and never underestimate the power of taking the next step towards your future. Hopefully, here at Hitchin Boys. This isn't just a school, it's a community, and we'd love for you and your child to be part of it.
Hello, I'm Freddie Molyneux, and like Joshua was in your shoes only a year ago. When I started at the school, I was slightly worried about the transition, but it has been a very positive and great experience. Now that I've got to know the school, I realise that there are so many more opportunities than in primary school. For example, wide variety of clubs means that there is always somewhere to go before school and after or after school. The clubs include board games, sport, helpful subjects, and lots of music and drama clubs too. If you join here, you'll be encouraged to try lots of new things. You never know, you might find out about secret talent that you didn't know you had. I was impressed by Mr. Bennett's kicking uppers. Oh yeah. To give you an idea, so far, I have tried badminton, basketball, table tennis, gym, and drama clubs. On the club list for this term, there are 92 clubs across the year groups. One of my worries when coming to the school was that the older children might not be friendly or welcoming, but they are. On my first week, I dropped my coat when walking out of school. A Year 9 picked it up and handed it back to me before I could even reach to get it. Typically, I dropped it again. Still, someone kindly found it and handed it into the office. When we first came to school, I think most people were worried about getting lost. But the school seemed a lot smaller after only a week or 2. I could probably get to every lesson without a map now, as the school is really easy to familiarise yourself with. If you decide to come here, on your first day, you will do a really fun map reading class, or you practice finding your way around the school. You'll probably get to see some of your new classrooms while navigating your way around. I hope that by sharing our positive experiences, you will look forward to starting secondary school. I will hope to see you next year. Thank you for listening.
Not really sure how you follow that, really. Always that last to go on. Parents, just to let you know, there is salad. It's not just chicken burgers. I can't promise they eat it, though. I am totally aware, and quite rightly, that everybody is looking at several schools to work out what's best for you boys, for your sons. And I've done this myself, and I had 3 children. I still have 3 children. I have 3 children at 3 different schools. So I do understand that. What I would say to you is this. ask the question, will he be successful here? Consider what that success looks like. As you've done, keep talking to people, focus on all the opportunities that are there. I think the big thing for me is this: you won't hear me preaching that single-sex schools are right for everybody. They're not. And what I would say to you, though, is this, that Hitchin Boys should not be labelled. It's not an academic school. It's not a sports school, a music school, an arts school, a technology school, a science school. It's all of these things and more. And I will leave you in a moment just with a short film. But I would say this, that Hitchin is not just a boys' school. It's a school for boys. And I think that's enormously important. Can I thank you all for listening? It's been really nice to see you all here. And you may start to leave, but I will put a film on for you to watch. Thank you.